Okay, so we're ready for the first question, and I would like to introduce this question.
Yeah. So we have been working on the constitutions and the voting process, arbitration process for the last few months. With Mr. Cox and his team, and probably from 2 weeks ago. When we start to work, every time I feel more and more obliged to understand better about the whole system, because this constitution, the governance thing happens probably officially like only 2 months ago. So
yes, but it's blockchain time. So
yeah, exactly.
That's like 2 years.
2 years. Right. So that's why I fly in, spend I'm driving up to New York after this meeting, spend time.
Driving up?
Yeah, I changed my mind. I booked a ticket. But I feel strongly obliged to be here to understand the fundamental of a lot of things. Like arbitrator, we don't even have this idea. Like when we met Ian Griggs, like in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So my first question would be, how we see different roles, the responsibilities for the members of EOS in a long term. They're not necessarily what's doing now. Probably we just want to get some designing thought, especially for a long time view on the roles of the members of the EOS system.
Okay, well, since we're talking long-term, it's going to be very speculative. And I want to preface this by saying everything I say is my own personal opinion. It's not like the official position of my employer. I'm just giving my best understanding from where I'm standing or sitting of what's going on. So I will give you my best answer. I'm not promising it's going to be right because it's the future and who knows. But I'll tell you what we're thinking today about the future. That I can tell you. So we've got basically, I'd say that there's 4 major roles being held. I'll do this. So we've got the future roles: token holders, block producers, dApp developers, arbitrators, and what I didn't put up here, but it's an important addition, is information clearing mechanisms. And of course, today we're seeing that fulfilled primarily by EOS Go, Kurios, EOS. There's probably others I don't know about. And they're the ones who are information hubs that help us communicate with each other. They're the people who put on regular video chats and interview people and lots of postings. And they're not doing any of these other things necessarily. They're just helping us talk to each other. And if you look at these, what you've got are token holders are the legislature. Right? Because token holders vote, and if you're voting on, you're setting policy, you're deciding maybe inflation should be 6% instead of 5 or 4%, or 20%. Who knows? Bad idea though. Inflation's bad. But whatever it is, and so as a token holder, you would vote in a referendum, and then executive are the block producers who will salute, and say, okay, 4% inflation, you got it, and then they have to actually perform the task of changing the system parameters to carry out the decision that was made. And then the dApp developers are like users of the system. They're not, as dApp developers, they're not currently part of governance. But the arbitrators are like the judicial branch, so that if a particular person has a problem, they can say, hey, here's my case, and here's the rules about my case. Can someone give me justice? And so if Fred and Barney have a smart contract together and it executes in a way that isn't correct, it doesn't reflect the intention of the contract, either one of them can raise their hand, ask for an arbitrator to come and change the outcome on the chain from what actually happened to what should have happened. The arbitrator has to look at the Constitution, has to look at the smart contract, has to gather information from both sides, make a decision. And when the arbitrator then publishes that decision, it would go to block producers to be carried out if the two parties involved didn't just do it themselves. And these 3 roles of legislature, executive and judicial are long term. That's for the future. That's like forever. We're expecting that to continue on and on and on. And then the dApp developers, to the extent they hold tokens, they're just token holders like anybody else. The other thing that the dApp developers are doing is they become a bridge to the I'll call them the non-token holder users, people who never create an account on the system, they never own any tokens, but they see, oh, look, here's an app on my phone, and then they do something. Or look, here's a web page, and I'll interact with the web page. And they never even know that there's a blockchain underneath. They never have an EOS account. They never own any EOS tokens in their own name. They're just using the system.
Right.
Which from inside the system, it looks like that the dApp developers doing all of those activities. And so these people they might have a dispute with the dApp developer, but this would be a dispute in terms of the license that the dApp developer offers. And so that's kind of where we're going. And my belief is that over time, the dApp developers are going to be hugely important in driving users and traffic onto the chain so that it becomes a platform upon which really amazing things can be built. So they're the future. And I see the block producer role right now. They're marketers and they're problem solvers and so on. I think long-term block producers are going to fade into the background. They're going to be boring. They're going to be like the people who keep the lights running, or keep the water flowing. It's like you don't even want to think about it. You come into the room, you turn the light switch, and if the light comes on, you don't even think about it. Right. The blocks get made, decisions get made, an arbitrator reaches a ruling, the ruling gets carried out. I don't even think about